The woods hum before the storm. Silver fog rolls between pines like something alive. A heartbeat thrums low, not human. Then a voice, close, confessional. Every full moon we hunt. Not for sport, not for food, but to remind the night who it belongs to. The Whispering Narratives logo flickers on screen, static distorted by a wolf's howl. Then the darkness breathes and we fall into the story. I was born under a blood moon. That's what my mother likes to remind me when I start asking why. Why the basement door locks from the outside. Why the windows are silver-lined. Why the woods behind our land smell like rain and rust after every full moon. We're the Vale family, 6 of us. And around here, folks say our blood runs older than the mountains themselves. Our house squats at the edge of the tree line. All cracked white paint. Sagging porch swing and a wind chime made of deer bones that never stops moving. Even when the air's dead still. My father, Caleb, runs the only deer processing shop for 50 miles. Everyone brings him what they hunt and he pays cash. No one ever wonders what happens to the ones that go unclaimed. He says the woods take their due, and we make sure they don't take too much. My mother, Ruth, is the real head of the house. Folks think she's quiet. They don't hear her after dark, whispering the old words under her breath while the moon climbs through the window like an uninvited guest. Her eyes catch the light just a little too long, like glass catching fire. We're a good family. By day, we work. We eat. We laugh. But when the sky starts turning red, everything inside us changes. Not instantly. Not all at once. It's more like the air gets heavy and every sound cuts sharper. The crickets sound wrong, too organized. The smell of blood from the shop seeps up through the floorboards and makes our teeth ache. And then the hunger comes. Not the kind you feed, the kind that feeds on you until you move, until you hunt. It was the night before my 25th birthday when my mother finally said the words I'd been dreading. "Tomorrow, you hunt with us." She said it while sharpening her knife, the same one she's used since before I was born. Her voice was calm, too calm. The blade caught the kitchen light and for a moment I saw my reflection in it. My eyes rimmed with red. Mara, my sister, smiled across the table, slow and mean. "About time you grew some teeth." The twins giggled, still young enough to think it was all a game. Jonas didn't say a word. He just stared at the window, where the moon was rising pale and full, too early, like it couldn't wait. That night I didn't sleep. Couldn't. Every sound outside pressed against the glass, footsteps in the gravel, whispers in the trees, the scrape of claws against the porch boards. The wind chime rattled once, then stopped. The silence that followed was worse than any sound. I went to the basement door. It was unlocked for once. I shouldn't have gone down there. The smell hit me first. Copper, fur, something burnt. Then I saw the chains, the old ones. The kind you don't use on animals. There were claw marks in the concrete. Long ones, deep, fresh, and then I heard it. Breathing, ragged, close. A shape in the dark shifted and 2 eyes opened, silver and wet and wild. It was Jonas, but not Jonas. His mouth was moving, whispering something between words and growls. "It hurts less if you don't fight it." He looked at me through the cage bars, and I understood. This wasn't a curse to be cured. It was a birthright to be claimed. By dawn, I sat at the kitchen table, staring at the woods beyond the field. The fog hadn't lifted. The moon hadn't either, and my mother's voice came from behind me, quiet, heavy, final. "You don't get to choose family. You only get to decide what kind you are." That was the last human thing anyone said that day. "You smell that? That's the hunt waking. Stay, don't run." They sense movement. Moonlight rakes the floorboards. The sound of cicadas fades until the silence feels alive. A dog barks far off, then stops, mid-bark. There's a moment right before it starts. When you think you can still choose what you'll become, that moment never lasts. The fog thickens around the house like breath on glass. My father opens the back door and the world tilts. Pine sap, blood, wet earth. The air tastes metallic, the way it does after lightning. My skin prickles. Every heartbeat is a hammer blow inside my ribs. Ruth stands barefoot on the porch, moonlight cutting her hair to silver wire. She raises her head slowly, eyes burning that yellow-white I once thought was reflection. It's not. It's fire from within. Jonas is beside her, already trembling. His spine jerks with that awful crackling rhythm that sounds half bone, half music. "Don't fight it," she says. "I'm not," he gasps, but the words come out broken. Half growl, half plea, then the sound wet tearing. His hands convulse, nails splitting, lengthening into hooked black claws that dig through the porch wood. I taste his blood on the air before I even realize my tongue's out. Mara laughs, high, delighted, cruel. Her own jaw elongates, skin stretching, eyes wide as if ecstasy and agony were the same thing. The twins watch, wide-eyed, then look at me. They're still human for now, lucky. I feel it rising through me, like drowning upward. My heartbeat syncs with the one outside me. My teeth ache. The world sharpens, every sound a blade. Then I hear it. The call. Not a howl yet, not words. Just that deep, vibrating command from somewhere in the marrow of the earth. The one that says, "Run." We hit the tree line as one. The forest swallows us. The smell of everything, mold, moss, fur, fear, overloads the brain. Vision fractures. Shadows flicker in ultraviolet hues no human eye should see. I stumble, half human, half something else, until my mother's hand grabs me, rough, clawed. "Steady," she growls. "The first hunt's not about killing. It's about belonging. Belonging tastes like blood." We move through the undergrowth in silence that isn't silence at all. Pads on leaves, lungs gulping air, hearts like drums. Jonas leads, his shoulders massive now, fur slick with dew. Father follows behind, keeping the twins between us like shepherd guarding lambs. Except we're no shepherds. Ahead something rustles. Rabbit? No. Too heavy. Human. Campfire smoke and deodorant. Teenagers probably. Wrong woods, wrong night. Mother lifts her hand. Everyone freezes. She looks back at me, her mouth more muzzle than lips now. "You decide," she whispers. "Pact doesn't move without its newest voice. It's a test. I know it. If I walk away, I'm prey forever. If I choose wrong, I'm damned with the rest." The fire flickers through the trees. Two campers, laughing softly, oblivious. I can smell their heartbeat. One fast, one slow, both beautiful in their fragility. I step forward. My pulse syncs with theirs for a heartbeat, and then my bones betray me. They shift, ribs expand, nails curve, skin splits to make room for what was always hiding underneath. The scream never makes it out of my throat, only a roar that shakes the leaves from the trees. When it's over, the fire's out, the clearing red, and my family stands around me in quiet approval. Mother wipes her mouth, eyes soft. "Now you know why we hunt together. Alone we're monsters. Together we're gods, but something's off. The twins are gone." Jonas sniffs the air, low growl rising. Eli's scent stops near the creek, replaced by something cold, metallic, gun oil. The woods shift. A flashlight beam cuts through the fog. Men, hunters, real ones. Father bares his teeth. "They came back," Mother's eyes flash. "Then we finish what we started last moon." My stomach twists. Last moon, the unclaimed bodies. The missing persons posters at the gas station. We weren't the only predators out here, but we were the worst. Gunfire, one shot. Then chaos. The night erupts, muzzle flashes, howls, blood steam on cold air. I see Mara leap onto a hunter, teeth flashing like wet ivory. Another man falls screaming until Jonas silences him with one blow. I catch sight of Eli, small, wild, eyes glowing gold, ripping through brush toward the river. A spotlight hits him. He flinches, exposed. I run. Not to kill. To reach him, branches whip my face, mud slick underfoot. I hear the click of a rifle behind me and dive, dragging the shooter down as claws find his throat. When I look up, Eli's gone. Only his small footprints vanish into the creek, and above the gunfire, above the screams, one long, low howl carries through the mountains. It's not one of ours. It's something older. Feel it under your skin, don't you? The pull to run, the hunger to belong. Stay through the next moon, see what you become. The screen flickers between static and running footsteps. Gunfire. Flashes like lightning, a howl cuts off mid-breath. We thought we owned the night. We forgot the night. Doesn't belong to anyone. It just rents us out to whoever's hungriest. The smell of gunpowder chokes the air. The fog has turned to smoke, drifting in grey ribbons that hide more than they reveal. Jonas limps beside me, one arm shredded by buckshot, steam rising from the wounds. They're closing fast. Silver pellets burn deeper than lead, and he's losing blood. Keep moving, I hiss. He shakes his head, snarling. Not without Eli. The woods echo with human voices, urgent, terrified, armed. I can hear their hearts pounding like snares in the distance. Not all of them are hunters. Some are deputies, maybe locals pulled in by the sound of gunfire. And that's worse. They don't understand what they're fighting. I drag Jonas behind a fallen oak. The moonlight cuts through branches white and sharp as a blade. He went toward the creek. I whisper. I'll find him. You go, they'll smell you, he grunts. You're still half-turned. He's right. My skin's caught between shapes, hands trembling with claws half-grown. Pain rides the edge of every heartbeat. But fear's a leash, and I've chewed through worse. Stay alive, I tell him. You too, brother, he says. And for a second we sound human again. The creek is a mirror, silver and black, winding through the forest like a vein. The water's cold enough to burn. I can smell Eli before I see him, his scent tangled with fear and oil metal. Then I see him, not moving, sprawled on the bank, small frame outlined by the beam of a flashlight. 3 men stand over him, hunters, masks up, eyes wild, rifles shaking. What the hell is it? One whispers, looks like a kid. Jesus, look at his eyes. Don't touch it. Wait for it, too late. Eli's eyes snap open, pure white. The water around him explodes upward, spray glowing silver. The men fire. One drops screaming as Eli's claws rake through his chest. The others stumble back, one tripping into the creek. I lunge from the dark, all instinct, no thought. A gun goes off, pain flares in my shoulder, but I'm already on him. We crash into the mud. The man's breath smells of coffee and fear. I crush his throat before he can scream again. When the silence returns, only Eli's breathing fills it, fast, ragged. His body shakes, caught between fury and shock. He looks at me, muzzle smeared red, and I see it, terror. Not of them, of himself. I didn't mean to. You did what you had to, I tell him. But the words taste like ash. A shot cracks from the trees. Ellie jerks. Blood blooms across his side. He falls, eyes wide in disbelief. I turn and run toward the sound, but the shooter's already gone. Only the faint metallic click of a bolt sliding home. Then voices, orders, they're organizing, herding us. The hunters know what they're doing. Low, thrumming drone under heartbeat. Every third beat, a sharp metallic snap like a trap closing. I drag Eli back into the brush, hand pressed against his wound. He's breathing barely. The silver burns worse than fire. There's no saving him without the pack. And the pack is scattered. I hear movement, soft, deliberate. Mara steps out of the dark, fur slick, eyes wild. You left him, she hisses. He's hit. Then we finish him. I stare at her. He's our brother, and he's bleeding silver. You know what that means. One bite and we all go down. Her logic is clean, cruel, and right. That's the worst part. Mother would never. Mother's not here. She raises her claws. I move before I think, catching her wrist. Her snarl splits the silence. For a moment, we're not siblings. We're animals fighting over a dying cub. Then a gunshot tears through the argument. The bullet catches Mara in the neck. She staggers, falls. The shooter's silhouette moves behind the trees, quick, disciplined. Military, not civilian. Someone hunting us for real. The forest lights up with red flares, hunters signaling. The glow stains the fog, makes it look like the world's bleeding out. My mother's howl rises somewhere far off, high and furious. Father answers from the valley below. They're regrouping. But for the first time, I hear something new beneath their howls. Desperation. Jonas crashes through the brush, limping but alive. When he sees Mara, something in him breaks. No. He kneels, presses his forehead to hers. For a moment, her eyes flutter open and she almost smiles. Don't let her win, she whispers. Then she's gone. Jonas lifts his head slowly. His eyes are gold now. Not the calm gold of the moon, predator's gold. We end this, he growls. There's too many, I say. Then they'll have to learn what many really means. He throws back his head and howls, a sound that shakes the ground itself. Every wolf for miles answers. The forest moves. The pack, feral cousins, outcasts, the ones we thought long gone, are coming. The old blood still remembers. You still there? You can't stop now. You've got blood on your hands just for listening. If the night is a church, blood is its liturgy. And every liturgy has a rule. We carry Mara. Jonas won't let anyone else touch her. He lifts her like something sacred, fur dark with her blood. And the trail we leave is a straight line pointing the whole county to our throats. We move anyway. The dead decide the route. Mother meets us where the creek breaks into a spill of rocks and black foam. Her face is half human, half the animal that loved us enough to bite. Father comes up behind her, breath soaring loud, the twins in his shadow. June's calm. Eli is not. He trembles with silver sickness, eyes washed to dull moonstone. Ruth looks down at Mara and does the one thing I've never seen her do. She kneels. Blood calls blood. She whispers, and blood answers. She draws the knife. Old steel, dark with use. Presses it to her palm, slashes without flinching, lets the drops fall on Mara's brow. Jonas follows. Father, June, even Eli, grimacing as the silver bites back at the cut. I don't hesitate. My blood hits last, warm as breath on a mirror. Speak it, Mother says. We speak together, the words older than the mountain, older than us. We keep the balance, or we pay it. The forest listens. The water holds its breath. For a moment the world remembers the pact and nods. Then the men answer, not with prayer. With a horn, one long wail rolling through the woods like a black train. Red beams sweep the trees. Footsteps fan wide. They're pushing us uphill, toward the stone ridge where the pines thin and the earth remembers other bones. Jonas lays Mara gently on a flat rock and looks at Mother. No words, just that look. Let me loose. Not yet, she says. First, you know who hunts us. A shape steps out of the fog across the creek, 20 paces away. No rush, no swagger. He wears a plain canvas coat lined with wax, a radio on his shoulder, and a tin cross that doesn't shine. It swallows light. His beard is iron gray. His eyes have the stillness people mistake for kindness in men who've done necessary things. Ruth Vale, he says, like a greeting and a verdict. Mother's lips peel back. Tanner Brackett, Father stiffens. The name lands like a nail. So, not strangers. Not weekend hunters, wardens, the old kind. Back when there was a town and a promise. When our family culled the wild ones and the wardens culled us if we forgot the code. A partnership dressed like a standoff. A balance written in the margins. I buried 3 men last moon, Brackett says. 2 were mine. One was a boy from Mill Creek who didn't know what he was yet. Your mark on all of it. Mother's voice doesn't rise. Farrell took the first bite. We finished it. You finished it past finishing. He nods toward Mara on the rock. And now blood says hello back. Around him other figures hang in the trees, quiet, disciplined, scopes unblinking. Some wear the tin crosses, others wear bark-writ talismans, sigils carved with a nail. Not church, not state, covenant. We came to take the rest of you by dawn, Brackett says. But I'm not without respect. Bury her. Then run, Jonas laughs, low and ruined. Then we'll bury you and your paper gods. Mother lifts a hand. A gesture stops him like a leash. You break the pact, she tells Brackett. The ridge is sacred. The ridge is mine, he says, and the wardens step closer, rifles at the hip. And you broke it first. He tosses something underhand. It lands near my boot with a dull clink. A spent shell with a stamp where the brass should be smooth. I recognize the sigil from the tree, the circle split by a nail, leads for deer, Brackett says. This is for what wears a person only when it's useful. June's fingers creep into mine, small and cold. They made new bullets, she whispers. Not just silver, Eli shudders. The cut on his palm smokes, not new. Father says quietly, eyes on the cartridge. Old. That's consecrated iron, buried in a church wall for 100 years, dug out in a drought, hammered by a smith who never speaks his true name. My mouth is dry. Why now? Brackett looks past us to Mara, something like pity moving under the iron. Because last moon, Ruth, you hunted past hunger. Past the call. You hunted to send a message. Mother's silence is admission. She finally turns to us, the pack, and lets the human slide off her face like a mask that doesn't fit anymore. They forgot whose woods these are, she says. I reminded them. Brackett shakes his head. A pact is a leash on both sides. If you can't wear yours, we tighten ours. He lifts 2 fingers. A second figure appears beside him, hooded, hands bound, mouth gagged. When the hood comes off, The woods tilt, a girl. 17 maybe. Gray hoodie, Mill Creek High. I've seen that face on a gas station corkboard flanked by angels drawn in Sharpie, missing since last moon. Her eyes are wrong, shining pale, half changed. She looks at us like she recognizes not faces but smells. Found her by the dump road, Brackett says. No memory past the bite. You left her to starve or eat. We found her first. The girl jerks against the rope, snarling into the gag, tears cutting clean lines down the mud on her cheeks. She can smell us. She thinks we're salvation. You take her, you take all of them, Brackett says softly. You want to keep the ridge? Keep your code. Train what you bite. Cull what you can't, or we cull you. Mother's gaze never leaves the girl. You'll kill her once we turn, not if you claim her now. In the old way, bond her. Teach her. He pauses. Or I shoot her here clean. The creek chatters stones. Somewhere far downslope, a coyote keys up, then shuts off mid-yip like a radio cut. Ruth looks at me. Not Jonas, not father. Me. Speak it, she says again. The knife. My palm, the oath cooling on my tongue. Train what you bite. Cull what you can't. But last moon we bit and ran. I step to the creek, slow, hands open to show I'm more person than animal for the next 10 breaths. Brackett's men don't lower their rifles. They lower their hearts just enough for me to feel the slack. Untie her, I say. You claim her life? Brackett asks. You claim her deaths. The old words are a hook. They drag. I claim her, I say. I claim what she kills till she learns not to. The wind changes. The girl's eyes brighten like a match. For a second, she stops being a snarl and becomes a person with a future shaped like a narrow trail. Then do it, Brackett says. Right there. Old way. He nods at the stone where Mara lies. With the dead watching. Mother's jaw tightens, but she doesn't forbid me. Father's eyes are wet in a way I'll never mention. Jonas is stone. I take the knife. The old way is cruel because it knows mercy rots if you don't salt it. I cut my palm again and press it to the girl's mouth. She drinks. The change seizes her, violent, then not. The rope falls. She stumbles forward and collapses against me, shaking like a fawn. Behind me, Eli coughs blood. The silver is marching. We bury one, Father says. We bind one. Then we go. Jonas lifts Mara to the ridge hollow, the little bowl of stone where our family has tucked bones and promises since the courthouse still had a bell. June lines the hollow with pine needles the way Mother taught her, whispering things to the needles no one else hears. We lay Mara down. Mother places the knife across her chest. Not the blade, the spine. The sign that the fight goes on without her. We cover her with the earth we can lift and the earth we can't. The woods lean in. Even the wardens are quiet enough to listen. When it's done, Mother stands. Run the twins, she tells Father. Circle east and break their line. She turns to me. You take the found girl north, ghost trail under the shale. Keep low, don't howl no matter what you hear. Jonas steps forward. I lead the cut. Mother nods once and the nod is a crown. For tonight, it's his. Brackett backs away into the fog, hand raised to hold his men. The ridge holds Ruth, for now. But the count is ticking. Dawn is a ledger. At first light I read it aloud. Then make sure your numbers are honest, Mother says, voice all fangless threat. I'll make sure mine are. The wardens vanish the way only men trained in old woods can. No rustle, no crack. Only the sudden absence of a heartbeat you didn't know you'd been tracking. We split. I take the girl's weight. She's light but heavy in all the ways that matter. New bond scent, wild hormones, the half-song of a we're-becoming that rings like a tuning fork in my bones. June falls in behind us with Eli limping. He keeps pace because packs keep pace or die. We move through the shale seam, the hidden vein Mother traced into our souls before we could walk. Behind us the night ignites. Jonas howls. Not long, not loud, true. It's the sound you make when you're done being one thing and haven't yet become the next. Ahead, the mountain narrows to a throat. We paw through it fast and low. The girl slips and I catch her. She looks at me with new eyes, hungry, ashamed, grateful, terrified. What do I call you? She whispers, voice torn raw. I should say my name. The old one, the human one. Instead, I tell the truth the woods will accept. Pack. Behind us, the ward horn sounds again, closer, angrier. The ledger's coming due, and under it, very far away but climbing, A new howl answers that isn't Warden or Vale. Older, leaner. The thing we used to keep down by telling ourselves we were the cure, we aren't. We're only one disease that learned its manners. Old pacts don't disappear, they calcify. If you're still here, trace the sigil with me. Circle, nail, split. The code holds, for now. The ridge keeps its own accounting. Every footprint a number, every howl a line item. At dawn, the mountain reads it out loud. The ghost trail hugs the cliff like a rumor that only rocks believe. We move single file, me with the found girl leaning into my shoulder. June behind us, small and steady. Eli last, breath rattling like a mason jar full of bolts. The cut on his palm hisses where sweat meets consecrated iron. He hides the pain because that's how the twins were taught. You can cry at dawn. The night doesn't care. Below us, dark pines like a locked crowd. Above us, shale shelves ready to slip if a word is too loud. Up ahead, the vein narrows to a squeeze, ribcage wide. I check the air. Sap, wet stone, copper, and a new thread braided through, a sweet rot. Animal but not deer, old and patient. June touches my elbow, 2 taps. Listen. I hear it then. Bells. Not pretty ones. Flat. Hand-hammered, each with a voice that never harmonizes with the next. They hang low on trip lines strung between cedars that have grown into the rock. The wardens didn't set them tonight. They've been here for years. Ledger bells, June whispers. Granddad talked about 'em. Wake the ridge if the debt runs high. I ease my weight forward, step over a line fine as hair. The girl copies me, shaky but quick. Eli tries to follow, heel slipping. The rawhide twitches. The bell bumps the stone. Ding, a single sound that carries like gossip. We freeze, no echo. No second chime. That's almost worse. Move, I breathe. We thread the needle's heart's metronome. Every 20 paces another bell. The mountain's inbox. The warden's eyes. The girl tugs at my shirt. What if I change? Her pupils are wide, edges luminous like moth wings. She's riding the edge of the shift, close enough to smell the shape her bones want. If you feel the snap coming, I tell her, put your hands on the rock and bite your lip. Don't let the howl out. Let the stone take it. Will the stone keep it? Long enough. We clear the worst of the bells and drop into a slot where the shale breaks down into black loam. It's quiet like a sanctuary is quiet. Sound swallowed, breath counted. This is where the old pack used to sleep when they ran the ridge for days. You can feel them in the dirt. Heat signatures, old scratches, one tooth somebody lost and never found again. Eli sits hard, knees going out from under him. He pulls his shirt up. The wound has spidered, red spokes from the entry, each vein touched by iron turned a dead gray. His skin around it pebbles with fur that can't decide. June meets my eyes. We don't need to say it. If the iron reaches his heart, he goes quiet forever. If the iron reaches his head, he goes loud and wrong. I can walk, he lies. I just need a second. The girl kneels beside him without asking. I can help, she says, like it's a memory. She presses her cut palm to his side. For a heartbeat, nothing happens. Then a tremor runs through them both like a current. Eli gasps. The grey recedes a finger's breadth. Steam rises where our blood speak. June exhales a shaky laugh. She's tuned. We keep her. The ridge shifts under us the way a big animal shifts in sleep. Loose shale trickles somewhere out of sight. A root creaks. From far off, a horn answers a horn. The wardens are closing the arc. We move again. The slot narrows and the air cools. The smell of sweet rot strengthens until it sits on the tongue like syrup. The girl flinches. What is that? She whispers. Old meat, June says. Not dead, saved. We find the cache where the ridge hides what the ridge loves. A pocket cave no taller than a man and only twice as long. Inside, shelves of stone stacked with husks, deerskins dried to lace, rib cages cleaned too neatly, jars sealed with tallow caps, the fat gone wax white. A child's shoe. 3 braids of hair, gray and black and red, hung like rope. On the far wall, scratched deep enough to shine. A tally, lines and notches. The ridge ledger no warden counts. At the base of the tally, snagged on a nail, a familiar thing. One of our sigil bracelets. Braided rawhide circles split by a hammered nail charm. Mara's, maybe. Or Mother's. Lost in a fight years back. I take it without thinking. The charm buzzes in my hand like a trapped wasp. Eli points at the marks. That's not just kills. He taps groups. That's pacts, breaks, debts forgiven, debts enforced. June squints. And here, she says, touching a gouge that looks more like a claw wound than writing. Something got added that wasn't people. The sweet rot pulls like a magnet deeper into the pocket. A black seam splits the back wall where the stone drips in slow frozen curtains. Behind it, breath. Not fast, deep, old. The air exhales cool across our ankles like water flooding. We should go, the girl says. We should, but the ridge never lets you leave without attacks. A bell rings outside, close, clipped. Then a voice, calm as rain at a funeral. No one has to die in the cave. Bracket, how did he get ahead? He didn't. We took a circle trail that curved us into his pocket. He set the bells low to push us here with fear and left this door for the end. Ridge law, he calls. You come out slow, I count you alive. You keep to the ghost trail and I let you try the choke. But if you hole up, if you wake what sleeps, this ledger flips pages you can't pay. June leans against me. He's right. Eli shivers, not from cold. The grey spokes creep again. The girl looks at my hand where Mara's bracelet hums and nods at it. That how you decide? Sometimes. Then decide, Eli says, grinning the way he always grins when it's bad enough to be funny. Before I become the bell, I squeeze the bracelet until the nail bites. It shouldn't be warm, it is. I hold it to the ledger. The hum deepens, then lines on the stone brighten like moonlight soaked into old chalk. Beneath the most recent tally is a mark I know without reading. Ruth's hand, a deep, slanted slash meaning claim, and below it, in rougher cuts that never quite found the groove, another, forfeit. Mother claimed the ridge last moon. Then someone, maybe her, maybe Jonas, tried to forfeit what they'd taken when the bodies started adding up. The mountain didn't accept the refund. That's why the bells hung heavy tonight. The ledger is short by a life. We give one? June asks, voice small, or we pay 1,000. Eli says, eyes on the black seam breathing behind us. Brackett's voice again, closer. Ruth second, I know you're the one holding the rudder. You were always the one who looked back at the house before you went into the trees. You want these kids to see the dawn. Come walk a straight line. The girl looks at me like I'm already the answer she chose. The mountain breathes again, deeper this time, as if amused that anyone thinks they get to choose. Dub bass inhale, infrasound swell, grit trickle, a low, dry scrape like antlers across bedrock. The scrape comes again, closer. Not antlers, I realize, nails, big ones. The older thing waking in the seam has heard the bell and the horn and our heartbeats lying about bravery. I tuck Mara's bracelet into the girl's hand. If I'm wrong, run on the second scream, I say. Not the first. Your scream or theirs. Yes. I step out of the pocket into the slit of a doorway. The horn's glow is a sick peach through the fog. Brackett stands 10 paces off, rifle slung, palms visible. 2 wardens flank, metal low, eyes flat and ready. No crosses out. No prayers. I respect that more than I should. Count them, I say. He looks past me into the dark. 3 beating hearts. 1 loud, 1 steady, 1 wrong. The wrong one walks. I keep my voice even. You let us choke the trail. You don't fire iron into the seam. Brackett weighs the air like a butcher weighs meat. You woke it. We didn't. Then your debt did. Behind me, the seam sighs. Cool air out, warmer air in. The sound's almost human in the way a cave can be almost a throat. Fine, he says finally. North choke only. My boys hold fire unless you howl. If the old thing comes out, we all run, I say. We all run, he echoes. Ledger shared. It's the closest thing to trust we'll ever exchange. I back into the pocket, pull the girl up. Then Eli. June laces her fingers in both theirs like she was born to tie people together. We move. The seam breathes behind us one last time, slow as a tide leaving. Then something touches the floor where we just stood, a heavy testing pad. We hit the choke, a split in the stone barely shoulder wide. The mountain's ribs squeeze. Eli chokes on his own breath. The girl pushes with legs she borrowed from the animal under her skin. June hums an off-key church song that keeps the air from panicking. Brackett's men drift alongside outside the wall, footfalls keeping tempo with ours. Ledger bells titter and shut up, like old men in a feed store judging harvest. Halfway through, Eli folds. I hook my arm under his and push. He tries to make a joke and spits grey instead. The girl presses her cut to his again without waiting for permission. The steam rises. We shove. The rock gives a grudging inch. The mountain likes effort. A sound comes down the seam then. Wrong wind. A howl dropped in a well. Don't, I say. Don't answer. June's jaw quivers. She bites her lip until blood beads and lets the stone swallow her need to sing back. The choke widens. Air flows easier. Night opens ahead into a notch where the ridge drops to a throat of pines. Beyond that, the old service road and the culvert that spits you 2 counties over if the water's not angry. We spill into the notch like being born. A bell rings once behind us, then stops. Something large inhales in the cave and decides dawn is close enough to wait for. Brackett appears on the spur above, rifle slung, tin cross still dull. He looks at June. He looks at Eli's side, steaming. He looks at the girl holding my dead sister's bracelet like a promise. Ledger will like this better, he says. Not clean, but better. He points his chin north. Run a straight line. Don't cut down to the road until you feel the sun on your scalp. I nod, throat tight with a gratitude I won't write down where anyone can read it. We run. Behind us, farther down the ridge where Jonas and my parents hold the other line, the world goes to metal and teeth. The howls roll like thunder under sheet iron. Flares paint the fog bruised purple. The ledger counts and counts. Footfall percussion rising to sprint. Distant battle muffled by stone. One clean bell chime, then nothing but breath. At the edge of the notch I look back once, the sin I never stopped committing. Through the trees I see a shape on the ridge spine, broad and wrong, head too low, shoulders like boulders scraping. It turns as if it feels my eyes, and where its face should be is only moon and teeth. I don't howl. The mountain appreciates that. We drop into the pines and let them comb the blood from our fur. You felt the seam breathe, didn't you? Trace your scars and count your debts. If you run with us to dawn, you don't come back human. Dawn isn't mercy, it's the bill. If you're still moving when the light hits, you either paid in full, or you're the line item the mountain carries forward. We burst out of the notch into a ramp of pines that comb our scent and make the world smell like sap and antiseptic. The ground tilts toward an old service road cut into the ridge decades ago. 2 ruts, a ditch, and a culvert big enough for a man who forgot how to be one. June counts under her breath. Old pack timing. 8 strides inhale. 8 strides exhale. Shift the weight on 9 so ankles don't blow. Eli drags, heat coming off him in sick waves. The girl, new blood, newly bound, keeps pace because she's terrified of failing in front of the word she's wearing now. Pack. Mara's bracelet rides her wrist and hums like a heart that outlived its owner. We hit the road. Gravel pops. Dew throws cold in our faces like a warning we can use or ignore. North is left, east is right. North means a narrow run to the culvert, then the lowland beyond where wardens get lazy and the mountain forgets our names for an hour. East means ridge spine and the war we left behind. I raise my nose. The wind pretends it doesn't know us, then remembers and brings news. Wardens ahead, not close. One on the culvert mouth, calm heart. Probably Brackett's best. One farther up the grade, impatient foot, likely new. Both sitting on the ledger like bookends. We'll go straight, I say. No tricks. June's eyes narrow. Tricks are how we're breathing. Tricks are how the bill got bigger. She nods once, grudging. She doesn't forgive me for being right. We move down the road, shoulder to shoulder, visible, slow, not challenging but not prey. The sky is a bruised lightning at the edges. Birds test the air with single notes like someone tuning a violin they haven't played since the funeral. At the culvert, a man rises from a stool like he's been waiting to rise all his life. He's my height, sturdy, with a face cut from old Appalachian stone, the kind that smiles by refusing to frown. Tin cross dull as river rock, rifle at rest, not aimed. He looks at Eli, at June, at the girl's eyes gone a little too bright, then at me like he's counting a flock he never wanted to tend. Morning, he says. It isn't, but soon. Brackett sent word. He adds, ledger shed, north choke honored. You run the pipe and you don't howl. Fair, I say. He tips his chin at Eli's side, where steam threads away. Not fair, he corrects. Just agreed. A shape steps out of the pine gloom to our right. Brackett himself, quiet as a rumor, canvas coat beaded with dew, radio dead or pretending to be. He watches us like he's weighing meat again, yes, but also like he's waiting to see if the mountain laughs at his math. We're close. he says. Close is where folks forget their manners. He glances at the pipe. It's a concrete throat ringed with tiger beetles who don't know where apocalypse scale. Water whispers in it, low and cold. Test, he says mildly, like a teacher who doesn't believe in extra credit. Old law, last one before Dawn speaks. June bristles. We already, I touch her wrist. She shuts up because family isn't democracy. It's choreography with bite marks. Speak your test, I say. Brackett nods at the girl. Bound her clean, you said. Claim her deaths. She's got one already. He flicks eyes at the memory of the man by the creek. What happens if she adds a second before she learns your song? Who pays? You, her, the mountain, the mother who lost him. The girl flinches like a whip cracked air. Her hand curls around Mara's bracelet until the nail stamps a crescent in her palm. She looks up at me the way a foundling looks at a porch light, the hope painful because it invites wolves. I pay, I say. Brackett's mouth makes a shape that isn't a smile. Good answer, not the only right one, but one I can hold to a ledger and not be ashamed. He steps aside. The man at the pipe does too. The culvert is a promise and a dare. We go single file. June first, because she climbs like a spider and doesn't scare easy. The girl next, breath-catching when the concrete cold eats the heat out of her skin. Eli after, because if he goes last and falls, I can't push him from behind. Me last, because that's what you do when you're pretending to be alpha long enough to get people you love through a steel mouth. The pipe stinks of algae and pennies. The water is ankle-deep and honest. June hums again, a thread of wrong-note church. The sound binds us tighter than rope. Halfway through, the world behind us changes color. The flare light has gone, replaced by that flat gray that makes faces look true. Something roars back on the ridge, metal tearing, wood answering. Not wolves, not wardens. The older thing we almost woke decided to shift in its sleep. The mountain holds its breath. We hold ours too. Eli stumbles. The girl stops, grabs him. Their blood heat makes a fog between them. I push with my chest, knees screaming, hands numb. The pipe makes our breath sound louder and smaller at once. When we finally spill out into the ditch on the far side, the sky has a rim of iron white along the east that tastes like coins sucked in childhood. Brackett emerges from the brush, not by magic, but by knowledge. He took a deer trail we didn't see because we were busy surviving. He doesn't raise a gun. He raises a hand to shade his eyes against what little morning exists. He points up road. 2 more bends and you're clear enough I can pretend I didn't see you. Pretend hard, June mutters. He almost smiles. Lady, I was born pretending hard. We climb. The road bends, then bends again tighter, cutting between 2 rock faces pocked like old lungs. The second bend is barricaded with deadfall, fresh-cut saplings crisscrossed in a neat lattice, thorns braided through. Not warden's work, ours a fallback from years back. A fence meant to keep ferals from sprinting into town. Options? June pants. Through, I say. If we take the ditch, we funnel into their line. If we climb, we skyline ourselves for a shot. Through. Eli agrees, teeth chattering. We hit the lattice and take it apart like a puzzle with knives. The girl learns the rhythm quick. Pull, twist, snap, like she was born in this country, like her mother taught her to break fences and apologies the same way. Sap glues our fingers. Thorns find the gilt places. A crack, a hiss. Something hits the rock by my ear and sparks. Not a bullet. A warning. Brackett appears on the far side of the lattice we're tearing, palms out again. He's alone or acts like it. Canvas coat dark with wet. Tin cross still sullen. Last test, he says. June bares teeth. We passed your tests. Brackett shakes his head. You passed mine. This one's yours. He nods back down the grade. I follow the line of his chin with my eyes and feel the world simplify into ugly math. Father, coming hard. Carrying Eli's weight in his eyes even though Eli's with us. Blood in his fur that isn't his. And behind him, Ruth. Not running, walking, deliberate, and dragging something that makes my mouth water and my stomach turn. A man, warden, mask off, face wrecked, alive, barely. She drags him by a handful of coat like he's sin itself and she's bringing him to the altar. Jonas isn't with them. The air around my heart goes weird. Either he's cutting the other line or the other line cut him. I can't smell his breath. I don't let my face know that. Mother stops 20 feet short and drops the man like an accusation. Ledger, she says. We settle it now. The man groans, tries to roll, fails. His eyes find Brackett and beg. Brackett doesn't look away. Ruth, he says, tired in a way that has nothing to do with sleep. This isn't what we counted. It is, she says. He shot my daughter's throat. He held the iron that's eating my son. I offer him, the way your line offered deer in the lean years. You take him and you mark the tally paid. My vision narrows until the road is a thread quilting two worlds. June's hand finds mine, nails digging crescent moons in my palm. The girl presses close like alarm and belief. Eli sways Brackett's jaw works. That's not balance. That's trade. Ledger doesn't care what words we use. It does when the numbers lie. He looks at the man, old best, cut to pieces by night, that doesn't negotiate. He looks at Ruth, then at me, like he knows I'm the hinge that squeaks when doors swing. Your test, he says again softly. I understand. Dawn demands a particular kind of math. Not revenge, not appeasement. Payment that hurts the right places. I step past my mother. She doesn't stop me. That feels like betrayal more than a blow would. I kneel by the warden. He smells like cedar oil and faith that cracked years back and kept working anyway. He's trying to say something with half a mouth. I put my ear to it. The breath is wet. My boy, he rasps, died right. Screaming. It's not a confession. It's an offering. He's telling the truth as he understands it, and it's not kind to him or us, which is how you know it's true. I look at Brackett. He's yours? Brackett nods once. Brother in all ways that count. Then the ledger won't take him from us, I say. It'll take him from you. Ruth's eyes flash, hungry. No. Yes, I say, surprised at how steady it comes. You pay debts with what's yours. I take the knife, not the point, the spine. I lay it across the warden's chest the way we laid it on Mara's. Father makes a soft sound like prayer got sick. Name him, I say. Brackett blinks hard, then Harlan Reed. The road listens. The mountain lifts its chin. Harlan Reed, I say, voice rasp raw. Counted, kept, read at dawn by kin, not killed by us, not carried as our sin. Accounted in their ledger, pain paid on their page. We don't get to outsource balance like a bill collector who lost the address. Brackett's eyes shine in the grey that isn't light yet. He nods, once, like a man accepting a price he doesn't argue because it's correct, even if it's cruel. Mother's breath rattles with fury that may outlast all of us. You let him walk, she hisses. Brackett shakes his head. No one walks from this clean. He kneels, takes Harlan's hand, and stays with him the way men used to stay with harvest and war. He doesn't ask me to leave. He doesn't tell me to stay. He just makes the world small enough for breath and numbers. Harlan dies quiet. The road notes it down. The sky goes paler, tin washed in milk. Birds decide today might exist. The older thing on the ridge doesn't come. It will, another time. Debts stagger. They don't vanish. Brackett stands, bones cracking like ice. He looks at Ruth. Ledger says 3 names at dawn. 2 of mine. 1 of yours. If Jonas is one, Jonas is a wolf, Mother says. It's not an answer. It's a refusal to speak a language that counts that way. Brackett nods like that's as close to truth as we get. He steps aside. Go. You keep north until you don't smell me. We pass him. The girl brushes his coat by accident. He doesn't pull away. Eli's steam fades from white to pale. June's hum grows lighter. At the third bend, the trees open to a cut with a view of the eastern hollow. Lowland fields exhale fog like smoke from 100 small fires. Far away, a church bell that hasn't rung since before I was born tries one note. Fails. Tries again. Decides to wait for company. I feel it then. The sun not on my skin, but thinking about it. A coin under the tongue. We stop at the edge where the pines end and the ditch becomes grass. The girl squeezes my fingers. Did we pay? For today, I say, for Mara. We don't get to choose which debts belong to love. Her eyes fill, but she doesn't spill them. Pack manners. Behind us, somewhere deep in the ridge, a single howl rises. Not triumph, not grief. Something between. A ledger read aloud in a voice that learned human words and forgot them again in the same night. June listens, head cocked. Who? I don't know, I say. I don't want to. We step into the grass and let dawn bite. If you made it to the grass with us, count your pulse. If it's still there, you owe the ridge a story. Subscribe and leave your mark. What would your dawn charge you? Dawn doesn't forgive. It only tallies. If you walk out of the dark, you walk with numbers on you. We move in the open for the first time all night. Fields once cut for hay slope away to a creek, drawing a thin mercury line through the hollow. Old fence posts lean like drunks deciding to sober up. Crows shake themselves awake on the far trees, look at us, and decide prophecy is above their pay grade. Eli walks under his own weight. Barely. The iron grey in his side has waned to a dull bruise, as if shame could scab. June keeps a hand on his elbow anyway, sister gravity. The girl stays close, head low, Mara's bracelet flickering with a hum I can hear in my teeth. She's reading our cadence and matching it, the first song any pack teaches. We cross a fallow plot where last year's cornstalks still stand in a ragged alphabet. Somewhere behind us, the ridge exhales, war shrinking to argument, argument shrinking to oath. Bracket, let us go because math said so, not mercy. That's what makes it hold. At the edge of the plot I stop. You can feel it when a place wants you to listen. The ground pulls at the soles. The sky tightens. The breath in your chest counts itself without permission. Here, I tell them. This is where we hear the names. June doesn't ask how I know. She hears it too. The ledger is a church bell with no tongue. Everything in you answers anyway. I put 2 fingers to the dirt. It's cold, then warming. I close my eyes. The first name comes in a voice that is not a voice. Mountain speaking through the wound in mourning, Mara Vale, not said for us, said for the world. The syllables land in the field like seeds you hope you deserve. June bites her lip and nods like taking attendance. Eli swallows whatever sound tried to climb out and instead says her name himself, softer. A second copy the field also keeps. The second name arrives on the same wind, heavy as a folded flag. Harlan Reed, a warden's name read on our land without bile. Bracket kept his end. My chest loosens a notch it didn't know it had cinched. Silence sits for 3 heartbeats. The third name doesn't come. Something else does. A sound like a branch splitting under snow. The ridge is chewing on a number it doesn't like. Jonas, June whispers, and the way she says it makes it a child's name again, not the wolf's. I hold my breath until my ribs hurt. The crows hop on the fence and tilt their heads like judges. The creek keeps arguing with itself in the old tongue God gave water. The third name arrives late, as if carried from far off by a runner who bled to get here. Jonas Vale. The syllables land wrong in my ear, too bright for death, too clean for survival. The mountain has ways of reading where men use fewer boxes. Sometimes a name is counted because it left the ledger. Sometimes because it became the ledger. June's shoulders hitch once. Eli makes a small sound, low and private. The girl touches my wrist and I realize I've been digging crescents in my palm deep enough to cut. I open my eyes. He's not dead, I say. It's not comfort. The ridge doesn't do comfort. It does placement. What then? June asks. I look back toward the spine. Fog veils the pines to milk. Light sketches new edges where claws drew old ones. He's in the math, I say. Not on our side of it. We stand long enough for dew to climb our cuffs. Birds find courage and begin their small, foolish economy of song. The horizon stirs into copper. The night starts shrinking like a puddle under heat. We move again, not because it's smart, but because not moving is an answer the day will capitalize. The old service road hums behind us like a warning shot hung in the air. Ahead, a barbed wire fence sags between cedar posts. Beyond it, a dirt lane. A mailbox crammed with flyers for things that don't matter to people who don't live long enough to go. We slip through a gap where the wire learned to yield. Eli hisses as the barb kisses his wound and then laughs, because pain means time is passing in the right direction. June laughs too. The two sounds find each other and make something like a life. The girl pauses at the fence line. She looks back at the ridge, the way runaway kids look back at porches. Do we go home? She asks. I look at the lane pointing toward a town that will smell like coffee and motor oil and tax debt. Our house sits in the opposite direction, painted with the kind of poverty that never apologizes. We don't have home in daylight, I say. We have places that tolerate us. What tolerates us? Balance, the work, and each other. She nods like she knew that already and wanted me to know it too. We reach the lane's bend where a stand of sycamores throws skin like old letters. Someone has hammered a plywood board to one trunk, missing in red, with photocopied faces stapled underneath. The girl steps toward it and sees herself, grainy, unflattering, holy in the way nearly lost things are. Under her picture, someone has written, "Come home," M in a hand that shook. She flinches as if struck. I can't. You won't, I correct. There's a difference, is there? She asks without pleading. Only on good days. We'll give you some, June says, her voice going fierce. Good days. Pack says so. The name fits the mouth like a secret acknowledged. We walk until the lane meets a county road pocked with holes the state pretends it doesn't see. A pickup rumbles by, windows fogged by 2 coffee breaths, a child seat ghosting the back glass. The driver lifts 2 fingers off the wheel in that old country salute that says, I know your ancestors by their debts. He doesn't look twice. Day makes us small. We turn off before the road can notice us and cut through a stand of sweet gum toward a culvert that smells like familiar mildew. The air is warmer here. The sun has finally found a way to touch us without being seen doing it. Eli sits, head tipped back, eyes closed, skin the color of forgiveness you're not sure you earned. June kneels in front of him. When it pulls, she says, you tell us. No more pretending you're stronger than iron. I am stronger than iron, he says, a grin crooked as a nail. I'm just not stronger than whatever blessed it. M stands apart, watching the edge where light and shadow argue over a patch of grass. If I dream about the man, she says, flat factual, does the mountain count that? Yes, I say, but it doesn't charge it to you. To who then? To whoever taught you to dream clean when you didn't deserve to, she nods. Then I owe you. You owe the next one, I say. It only works that way. We sit through 2 minutes that belong to no clock. In them the ridge arranges its new arithmetic. The wardens read their names under their breath and decide which trees to lean on when they pretend nothing breaks them. The older thing settles its shoulder deeper into bedrock and waits for another season, another fool, another ledger, late by 1 life. A truck door thuds far off. A dog barks twice and quits. Somewhere in town, a coffee pot clicks off and someone says, huh, like life is both smaller and larger than they thought. And then the sound. It comes from the high shoulder of the ridge where the shale seam kisses sky. A howl, not clean joy, not clean grief, something braided. Promise, debt, the ache of choosing to live when it would be easier to be myth. M's spine straightens. June's hand finds mine. Eli bares his teeth in something that is not a smile. Jonas, June whispers, and then, no, because the head tilt of that howl isn't his, not entirely. It has a drag of stone in it, a church bell with fur. I don't answer. We don't answer. The first rule is, don't teach the day our names. The howl climbs, thins, threads the brightening air, and frays. It leaves a piece behind that will catch on fence barbs and jacket collars for weeks, then disappear into mouths telling stories at diner counters and bait shops. Swear I heard it. Must have been coyotes. The mountain smiles when men lie to themselves correctly. The sound fades. The light arrives, late as always, breaking in slats through trees, turning our breath to less than smoke. Em touches Mara's bracelet and it goes quiet in her hand, like an engine shut off just before it rattles apart. Now what? She asks. We don't run, I say. We walk. We find work that smells like meat but pays in cash. We keep to the edges. We train. We cull what we can't train. We count right, I look at her, and we never hunt alone. She lifts her chin. Even if the ledger is hungry? Especially then, we stand. The field across the culvert wears light like a shawl. Past it, a dirt path angles toward a line of houses whose porches sag with honest weight. Behind us, the ridge has already forgotten our footprints because forgetting footprints is how a mountain forgives. We step out, close on feet in dew. Tilt to hands, June's ink-smudged fingers. Eli's scarred palm, M's knuckles nicked from fences. Mine with crescents healed to pale moons. Slow pan to the ridge. Now only a postcard of shadow and promise. Lens flare from a sun that never learns our names. My family are werewolves. We hunt as a pack. That doesn't mean we always agree on what's prey. It means when the bill comes due, we pay with what's ours. And when the mountain reads the names, we listen and we keep walking. If you made it to dawn with us, leave your mark. Count a name you'd carry. Find it below. At Whispering Narratives, we don't just tell stories. We open doors to the shadows. And sometimes, those shadows reach back. If you're still here after this one, subscribe before the next full moon. And share this if you still believe in mercy.